Again on the church history trail, and we're continuing here in St Patrick's Church in Dublin, and of course this is the parish church, and you can see a couple of heads there on the door. And where we're heading tonight is we're heading to General Frederick Hermann von Schomberg, who was first Duke of Schomberg. We're heading actually to his grave because he's buried here in the cathedral. And also King William III held service here after the Battle of the Boyne, and so the chair that he sat in is still here as well. And so Frederick Duke of Schomberg was killed at the Battle of the Boyne on the 1st of July 1690, and there's actually a stone marker in the area where it is believed that the general actually fell at the recreated village of Oldbridge. And so the general was killed then at that famous battle, and it's said that he was killed after crossing the River Boyne, slightly ahead of the French Huguenot foot soldiers. But as the 75-year-old general, because that was his age, was actually trying to rally the troops, and he was cut down. And there's a bit of uncertainty about who actually struck the blow that killed the Duke. Some say it was a Jacobite lifeguard named Brian O'Toole. Some say it was Sir Charles Take, an English Jacobite, or even being shot by one of his own Huguenot soldiers by accident, as has been suggested. And so King William had the general buried in St Patrick's here. And so this is the grave here of the Duke. Duke of Schomberg. And the inscription here tells you what it says. Translation of the Latin inscription composed by Dean Swift, that's of Gulliver's Travels. Beneath this stone lies the body of Frederick, Duke of Schomberg, who was killed at the Battle of Boyne, AD 1690. And so you can pause the video there and read the rest of that. So that's the Duke's grave. And then this is the chair that William sat in after he held service here, after he won the Battle of the Boyne. It says here, chair of King William III. This chair was used by King William III when he came to St Patrick's Cathedral to give thanks to God for his victory over King James II at the Battle of the Boyne in 1690. And there's a wee bit of information here that I will read out to you. It says here, war and change. During the 17th century, the cathedral served as a civic building, a Roman Catholic cathedral and an Anglican cathedral. Oliver Cromwell is even said to have stabled his horses here during his military campaign in Ireland in the 1650s. And it says decades of political and religious unrest left the cathedral in great need of repair. And so I'll read this wee bit out to you here as well. It says the cathedral was restored to its religious function by 1660. However, the kingdom was once again thrown into turmoil on the ascension of the Catholic King James II in 1685. The Protestant William of Orange challenged James' claim to the throne. Much of their war was fought on Irish soil, culminating in the Battle of the Boyne, where James was defeated in 1690. British monarchs have remained Protestant ever since. And it says, returning to Dublin, King William III attended a service in St Patrick's, solidifying the cathedral's position as Protestant. Today it is the National Cathedral of the Church of Ireland, a member of Church of the Anglican Communion, and it traces its roots back to the early Christian church in Ireland, retaining elements of both Catholic and Protestant teachings. And of course, it was James who held Mass here on his way to the Boyne, which made the cathedral then revert back to Catholicism, and then because of King William winning the Battle of the Boyne and giving thanks here to God, it reverted back to Protestantism, Anglicanism. And it says here, funeral of the Duke of Schomberg. The Duke of Schomberg was Commander-in-Chief of King William's army in Ireland, killed during the Battle of the Boyne in 1690. William instructed that his body be brought to Dublin, and following a grand funeral, he was buried in the cathedral. And there you can see the grand funeral. Jonathan Swift said, and it was him that translated the Latin, it says, in Ireland we have enough religion to make us hate, but not enough to make us love. Jonathan Swift, thoughts on various subjects from miscellaneous. So, quite amazing, isn't it? And that's the burial markers there. That's the one I done in another wee video of Lord Lisburn, the cannonball that killed him. It says burial markers hanging just above the altar space in the choir. This cannonball marks the spot where Adam Loftus, grandson of Dean Adam Loftus, 1564 to 1567, was buried following the siege of Limerick in 1691. It is said to be the cannonball that killed him, and I showed you that in another wee video, so you can check out that one. Again on the church history trail, and where we are is we're in St Patrick's Cathedral in Dublin, and very impressive, I'm sure you will agree. The artwork here is absolutely fantastic, no doubt about it. And I think, if I remember rightly, this is the nave part of the cathedral. Just up on the wall there, what you can see is a cannonball. Now, that cannonball has great significance. It reminds me of the cannonball in Cork. If you remember the church we were at in Cork, St Finbarr's, and of course there was a cannonball there. But this cannonball is in connection with Adam Loftus, or first Viscount Lisburn. And Adam was Lord Lisburn, and he was born in 1647, and his father was Sir Arthur Loftus of Fernham in County Dublin. And Adam was ranger at Phoenix Park in Dublin, a well-known park here in Dublin. And King James II actually created him Baron of Fernham and Viscount Lisburn. And so the peerage of Ireland, that's where when he was created on the 29th of January 1686. So it was King James who made him Viscount Lisburn, and also he was also born of Fernham in the peerage of Ireland, and that was in 1686, as I say. And although he was a Roman Catholic, he nevertheless took the side of the Whig Party during the Glorious Revolution of 1688 in England. So pretty impressive to have this cannonball here, and it was actually this cannonball that killed him, because he was killed by this cannonball at the siege of Limerick on the 15th of September 1691, and he's actually buried underneath the cannonball. Where the cannonball is hanging, as you can see, his grave is down below. So he's buried in this area here, and so is his wife and his two children as well, two of his children as well. So there you go. So that's the cannonball that killed Lord Lisburn, who was of course Adam Loftus. So very interesting indeed. So thanks for watching, and God bless. Again on the church history trail, and where we find ourselves today is we're in Belfast, and I'm sure you'll realise through all the Union Jacks flying here that we're actually on the Shankill Road, and we're just outside Shankill Road graveyard, which is an ancient graveyard, and there's actually a Williamite soldier buried in here, and I'm going to read this wee bit out to you. Now if you want to read the rest of that, you can pause the video and read it for yourself, but I'm going to read the wee bit concerning the Williamite soldier, and it's this part here. It says, for centuries Shankill graveyard was the main graveyard for Belfast. The diary of the Very Reverend Roland Davies, chaplain to the army of William of Orange, records that on the 16th of June 1690, in the afternoon, he says, I went to the mountain's foot to bury Corporal Smith of Captain Coote's troop, which I did at an old burying place within half a mile of Belfast called Shankill. And so that grave is actually marked for us today, and it's not too far actually as you go in through the gates. I thought I was going to have to do a bit of searching, but they've actually got a modern headstone to remember this soldier. And so I'm going to show you this. Here you can see the graveyard, and so it says that the earliest grave is 1685. So this is the first time I've ever been in here, so I'm certainly, even though it's a graveyard, I'm certainly looking forward to having a wee look around. But this is the grave here, this is the monument, and it says, laid to rest in the ancient Shankill graveyard, Corporal Smith, 16th of June 1690, of Captain Coote's troop, by the Very Reverend Roland Davies, ILD, Dean of Ross, chaplain to the Williamite Calvary, dedicated on the 12th of July 2015 by the Reverend Dr. William J. Malcolmson, BD, Trustees, West Belfast Orange Hall, and then it says at the bottom, these all died in faith, Hebrews 11 verse 13. So that's fantastic. So stay tuned for some more, hopefully. We'll see what we can find. And again, thanks for watching. So this is a church here, and this is actually McKee Hall. So no doubt it's mentioned, it's named in memory of the McKee family. So fantastic, and it says here, the generous gift of John McKee Esquire, New York, USA, 1826. And so it's called McKee Hall, as you can see. So absolutely fantastic. So some of the McKee family went to America. And so that's the church there. But what we're going to do is we're going to look at a unique gravestone, or should I say monument. And you can see it actually from here, because you can see a finger there pointing up into the air, and that's the monument that we're going to have a wee look at. And it was only through a farmer who lives here locally, who I was chatting to, actually told me about this monument. But I didn't realise that it actually mentioned Hugh McKee and also Robert Edgar, who fought at the Battle of the Boyne. But it actually does mention it here on this pillar here. So I was surprised whenever I read it. Now it's dusk, it's still daylight, but there's not a big lot of daylight left, so hopefully we'll be able to read this. So that's the hand with a finger pointing upwards, and that's obviously the McKee crest, I would assume. That's fantastic, isn't it? It's like pointing up to heaven. And it says McKee, and it says they are not here but risen. So I'm going to try and read this to you. Unfortunately it's a bit hard to read, but it's in memoriam of Hugh McKee, son of John and grandson of Hugh McKee, who with Robert Edgar joined the army of King William III in Scotland, fought at the Battle of the Boyne, and settled in Lisbon in 1690. And then it says born 1734, died 1818. His wife Anne Warnock of Rurik, the Ards, 1745 to 1812. So obviously that's later. That's not the same one that fought in the Battle of the Boyne. And then it says their children: Alan, 1765, 1850. Robert, 1737, 1828. Jane, 1775, 1795. And John, 1778, 1812. And then it goes on. So there you are. It's fantastic to have this, isn't it? And it says here, in memory of Robert McKee, Toddstown House, died 7th of June 1980. Also his wife Elizabeth died 7th of July 2002. And their son Robert Martin died 31st of March 2020. So that's very modern. And I think that's the thistle, the Scottish thistle, if I am correct. So we'll have a wee look at the other sides then. So this is Robert McKee of Pugsburn, I think that is, I'm not sure. Son of James of the Ockley and grandson of Hugh, 1811-1896. And his wife Elizabeth Little, 1821 to 1906. And then it goes on down. And it says their daughter, Isabella McKibben, 1853-1871. Their son, John McKee, 1851 to 1931, who erected this monument, was the faithful and generous friend of First Broad Mills congregation and donor of the adjoining McKee Hall, interred in Woodland Cemetery, New York. So it was actually John who actually gave the hall. We can't see well, there's the hall there. That's the hall. So that's the hall, and it was John whose that plaque mentions. It's named after him, John McKee, and so he was 1851 to 1931, and so it was him that actually had this monument. Now you can see the shamrock on that side. So it was him that had this monument erected in honour of the McKee family, and also of Hugh McKee, who actually fought at the Battle of the Boyne with Robert Edgar. So we'll have a wee look at the back and see if there's anything on the back of it. And there is. See if I can read this. A wonder of the race from distant climes, revisiting, I think that says something like that anyway. This spot has penned these lines and raised this stone to guard in hallowed trust his kindred's memory and great-grandsire's dust, resting in hope that at the Saviour's feet we yet will reunite when Zion's pilgrims meet. That's lovely, isn't it? So there you go, ladies and gentlemen, and there's a key. I'm not sure what the key's for now. But there you are, that's a key anyway of something. So I'll give you another wee look at the hand and the monument here. And of course that's the McKee Hall, named after John McKee of America. So there you go. So that's fantastic, isn't it?